कमेंट में मत बोलना.
All right. All right. We are live. Hello, everyone. This is Delvin, and a warm welcome to all watching at MESC Red Devils NCR. Today, I'm joined by Ojas Bhai, Abhijit Bhai, and Kshitij Bhai with me. Kshitij Bhai, first of all, warm welcome to you on the stream. This is your first time. Hope you're doing well. For all those who do not know, if you have watched our reel, Kshitij Bhai is the person who was emotional behind Anxiety Bhai and in that reel. So he's the one. Yes, he's right here with us. But this time he's smiling, not crying, and that's a welcome change. So welcome, gentlemen. And the run of games continues. It's just like the games won't stop coming for us. It's a game every 3 days. Sometimes I tend to forget that we are a football team and not a basketball team. Because of the sheer volume of games that we are playing at the moment. But it's a good thing to have a constant games. Just shows how good the team is performing as well. And this is a step in the right direction. And with West Ham in the FA Cup fifth round in a tournament which is very open, we cannot really predict a clear winner. I think this game holds a lot of significance, considering the fact that not a lot of big teams in there at the tournament at the moment. Man City have already qualified for the quarterfinals of the FA Cup by beating Bristol City 3-0. So Kshitij bhai, let's start with you. Kshitij bhai, how are you feeling entering this game? What is your mindset, and what are your expectations from this game?
See, when you said that City has already qualified, okay, fine, they are qualified, but we cannot underestimate teams like Brighton also, who are like in such a good form. On their day, they can ruin anyone. Sometimes they play like prime Real Madrid. I don't know how, but yeah. And coming to our opponents, West Ham has some players who, when they click, they're something else. Like Declan Rice and Suchek in the midfield, when they are on their song, they can destroy anyone. Plus, you don't know about Skamaka. One game he is amazing, the other game he is completely off. He's like their Fred, even though like Fred is amazing these days. But thanks, Kushagra. But like Fred is Skamaka is very dangerous in my opinion. Like he has not fulfilled his potential, Abhita. But yeah, and West Ham is a very fickle team. You don't know what you're going to get. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you spoke about Brighton and the rest of the team, so which is why I said that this is a FA Cup which is in the longest time very unpredictable. In the case that you cannot exactly predict a clear cut winner, because of the sheer unpredictability of the rest of the teams that are part of it. I mean, Man City up to a certain level, yes, you can understand why they are favourites and rightfully so. But then the rest of the teams that are the likes of Fulham, who already qualified, the likes of Brighton, us, there's not a lot to separate between the sides, so which is why it makes the competition much more interesting and much that and adds that layer of unpredictability to the side as well. As far as you speaking of West Ham is concerned, they've not really been at their best throughout this season, in spite of the outlay that they have put on the side. They've spent a substantial amount of money on good quality players also, but for some reason or the other, you've not seen those players materialize into concrete performances or something like that. So all in all, Ojas bhai, speaking of the fortunes of both sides approaching this fixture on the back of victories. We obviously winning the Carabao Cup final, and West Ham surprisingly scoring more than once. They did end up beating Nottingham Forest 4-0, with Danny Ings scoring a brace and Declan Rice also getting on the score sheet. So it seems like West Ham finally peaking at the right time. And if past encounters with West Ham are to go by, one thing is certain, that West Ham are not easy opponents. Even our last game against them in the Premier League, we were made to sweat for that 1-0 victory, where in the second half West Ham were literally all over us. There were wave after wave of West Ham attack with Declan Rice, with Suchek leading the line, and it was very close, but we somehow managed to find a way. So, what are you expecting from this game? And how do you think West Ham is going to approach this game with a newfound sense of confidence, considering the fact that they have scored four past a Premier League opposition in the previous game?
Um, yeah, a very tricky opposition for me, especially when you face West Ham, you already are facing one of the good sides of the London. A very unpredictable game going forward this time. But on the confidence ratio, we are slightly having higher confidence because we have just won a final, and West Ham is, I think, it's a home fixture, right? It's at Old Trafford.
Yeah, we are playing at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
Yes.
so like with all respect to West Ham, but I really don't want to come to Old Trafford after Manchester United have won a cup. They will be riding high on confidence, which we are, and I think today is a game we will be displaying a very good performance. We are in a moment of joy. We are in moment of confidence that we can really have those games that we dominate. But one thing that I know that what David Moyes has done, uh, he has bought Danny Ings for a reason. He had Skamaka, he had Antonio. Antonio is like Anthony Marshall there. He is injured half the time. So, but they have bought Danny Ings for a reason. They know that inconsistency of Skamaka can really hamper their performances. So they have a brilliant team at the core also. They have a center back. I'm forgetting his name. I'm forgetting his name is Ogard. I don't know what his
Ogbonna,
name is.
Agued.
No, no, no.
Agued, the Moroccan centre back, the
Agued.
Agued,
Yes, yes.
Agued.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that is also a very good addition. Two things I'm not sure of, whether the center back will start or Suchek is fit for the game. I am not sure about these two things. If somehow these two players are on the pitch, we can find it very tough to score against them. Nevertheless, it's a cup competition. It will go till extra time and penalties. So both teams will be really into it because it can be one of the moments for West Ham also to win a trophy after having a bad season, which they are having, and United's opportunity to pile on the trophy list that we have already added this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So a warm welcome to all of you guys on the stream as well. Uh, keep putting in your 2 cents regarding the game or whatever questions you have pertaining to the game, and we'll be more than happy to answer it. We'd love the stream to be more interactive. Mojo sir, welcome to the stream. Mojo sir says that he likes his ham with sausages and with a bit of pesto sauce. Yes, Mojo sir, kal kaccha chabana hai inko. Hopefully, the margin of victory is a little more comfortable than the last time we played them.
Delvin, what is the, if you have an idea, what is the position of West Ham in the table?
I think they're just. I mean, they are
14,
out of the they're out of the relegation zone, but not by much.
14.
Okay,
16.
okay.
Okay, bottom half of the table basically. Yeah. So Abhijit bhai, speaking of West Ham only and United also for us. Uh, Obviously now we are approaching this game on the back of a trophy win, and while the atmosphere is at an all-time high after the trophy win, do you think in some way that high of a trophy could mean that United are a little complacent? United, could there be a instance where United start off the game pretty slowly, still suffering from that cup win hangover, or do you think that Ten Hag has already made sure that there is enough high standards to be set, because there could genuinely be a case where United could start the game on an off note, and you cannot exactly blame them considering the emotional high that they have been in the past few days. But then there is always a risk. And do you think that it could happen here?
Uh, I love the what Ujjbhai said that they are a very tricky opponent. Yes, they have, they are on a good form. They are scoring more goals now, and I see them. They are back in the form. I think they will, try to compete now, and they will get the form now. Uh, what what do you say about that after the championship hangover? I don't see that. Even I would say that they will be pumped up with all the confidence that we have now because we have won the cup and the confidence will be all high and even the Old Trafford will be on the voice of and it will be lit. Uh, looking at some this tricky feature, I would say that there will be some changes in the squad and they will we know that players are hungry for the cup, for the run for to reach the next round, and they will give 100% everything to win the game. Okay, it will be a tricky game because West Ham, they are a very low block and they hit on counters and they're especially I think player would be Declan Rice who is in a good form and who is performing well. Even Bowen is performing well. He had a decent run in the last game, so you can't underestimate the player. Okay, I see that some tweets coming on that Shaw is not present, so Tyrell Malacia has to take the responsibility to stop the Bowen because he is very very lethal in the final third half, and we have to stop him to stop all the crosses and everything. To stop, I think Declan Rice. I think there should be some tactics. I think Savitzer will take that responsibility to stop the players. I don't see striker coming off for that. Antonio or I think Ings will be playing. That will be taken off, but I would see Harry Maguire is playing in this game. But looking at that West Ham game, then we have the chance to progress in the final, and ETH has prioritized that FA Cup is his priority to win the cup. So it will be some I know decent game. We will rest some players, and also the confidence that we won that will really really boost us, and it will be a positive start for us. We will not start very slowly, but we will capitalize as we ETH has always emphasized that we have to finish the game kill the game very early, and that's his mentality. Now players are coming on to that because last game we see that we finished the first half on the first half. There was a chance in the second half, but looking at this game, we should try to complete the game very early.
Yeah, rightfully said. So there is a question on the chat. AA98 Kozak. So he asks, might be a silly question, but should United be worried about West Ham? I think at this point, whichever opponent we face, we have to give them a certain level of respect, no matter how bad their form is or how patchy their form is, because such is the fickle nature of the Premier League and any other competition that we are part in. The most unfancied and the unheralded opponents can also spring in a surprise result. Take for example Everton's win against Arsenal the other day, or even Southampton's win against Chelsea the other day. So these results are not something that happen by fluke. They happen a lot and lot often in the Premier League and in the FA Cup as well. So this is something that I personally feel that we have been guilty of doing a lot of times. That we used to enter certain games with an air of complacency around it, considering the fact that we just have to turn up and we'll end up with the results. But under Ten Hag, that has not been the case. The work ethic has been so high that we've given every opponent the respect that they merit, irrespective of whatever the performances have been. So I don't think we should be worried. But then, like Ojas Bhai has said time and again on various streams also, these are games that we should not be losing. So while we should be fancied to win this game, we need to give them a certain level of respect because they are a very good side at the end of it. So Kshitij bhai, coming to West Ham, you spoke about the different variety of strikers they have. They have Mikhail Antonio, who's more or less their version of Anthony Martial, like Ojas bhai said. He is injured, but then while he is fit, he becomes a very valuable option for them up front because of his ability to hold up the ball, his ability to be a physical nuisance, and cause problems around the back line and so on and so forth. Then you have Skamaka, who's an entirely different profile of a striker compared to Antonio. Uh, he's a very refined target man, very tall, can get the ball on his head or on his chest also. And then there is Danny Ings, who's been a recent acquisition, and everyone knows the quality that Danny Ings possesses. He's a very lethal finisher. Whenever there is a ball in a very promising area, nine out of 10 times you bank Danny Ings to capitalize on that and perhaps at least get a shot on target if not score. So how, irrespective of whether it's Kamaka or whether it's Ings or whether it's both starting, uh, do you think that these strikers as individuals or these strikers as a tandem also could have an effect on our backline? Do you think that they are the type of strikers who could cause problems to our backline? And if yes, how do we go about tackling that issue? Because both of them possess very different qualities. While Skamaka, like I said, he's also a very good hold up player. Like not as good as Antonio, but then he still somehow manages to get the job done. And then there is Ings, who's a poacher and a fox in the box in the truest sense of the word.
Right. It's a very cocky thing to say, but like we have got Licha. We have got Licha. It's a very cocky thing to say, but like to they counter their air prowess, as you said. I think knowing Eric Ten Hag that he'll also rotate the squad because he's constantly rotating the squad every match. At least he's giving some minutes to every player. So if any bad thing happens to any player, the other player is at least some has some match fitness. So I think to tackle their height thing, I think today Maguire can play. I hope he doesn't because I am not the big fan of the guy, but like he's actually really good at winning the balls in the air. That I won't take it from him. And when you say holding up the ball, for that we have Varan. Varan can hold up the high line as well as he can come up, come back to support the other players also. So we have that in defense. But and Danny Ings, out of all these strikers, I like most because that man is jack of all arts. That man can shoot, that man can hold up the ball a bit, that man can find another player with a pass. Skamaka is still very young, very fresh, very green in Premier League. Mikhail Antonio, you don't know what you are again going to get from him because one day he'll dominate any centre back you put forward, and another day even I don't know who can I say. Dawson can also stop him. Is this something you don't expect? But like you said that West Ham might, as Kushagra said, that West Ham might rotate their squad. So there's a very huge and high possibility that knowing Ten Hag, he will somehow adapt to it. Because even if he gets the centre back wrong for first 45 minutes, he'll get on the right centre back after the first next 45 minutes to tackle whatever West Ham has put forward for. That's what I think about the striker issue.
Yeah, I think you've put it very well. Three strikers, three different stages in the Premier League. Two of them veterans, one comparatively new. So yeah, it's a little difficult for him also. As manager of West Ham, I'm talking about Dave Moyes, of course. So yeah, let's see how that pans out. So Ojus bhai, still 10 minutes there for the lineups to go. So for as far as our team is concerned, do you think that there could be any changes in our lineup? Do you think Ten Hag is going to go for a much changed lineup with a lot of changes in the side, or do you think he's going to stick with the tried and tested players? Because before I get into the details of it, there is a leaked lineup which has come. So in that leaked lineup, there's De Gea. The backline is Dalo, Lindelof, Maguire, and Malacia. McTominay and Sabitzer are the two center midfielders. It's Anthony, Bruno, and Garnacho, and then Weghorst up top. This is the leaked lineup. Now we'll have a much better idea 10 minutes from now on. But if this is the lineup, do you think that this is a good enough lineup to make sure that we get the result and go into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup?
Uh, Good enough? I don't think so. It's good enough, but with the resources, with the options that we have, I think it's a pretty decent lineup to compete against West Ham. Um, if it's to be believed that West Ham is also playing a second side or they are resting majority of the players, our lineup can counter this attack. But to be honest, a cup competition and you change both of your regular centre backs, it is always a tricky situation for me. It's my point of view that in a cup competition, you cannot change both of your regular centre backs. You can rest one of them, you can rest Varane, but you have to play one of them because it is just the momentum. It's just going with the momentum and having the maturity and the consistency in the back line. Delo, I don't have an issue with, but we all have seen that what Bisaka can do. But with I think a compact lineup like West Ham, Delo can be very dangerous moving forward against them. And Bisaka, I think Ten Hag is saving for this Sunday. It's Liverpool. It's a very tricky week for us. We have to understand that we have a very strong opposition to face on Sunday also. In that sense, our lineup is pretty good to have a cover for Sunday. But to be fair, Sabitzer, I expected to come in because he missed a couple of games here. But really, I wish one of the regular centre back plays. It's a cup competition. It's not something warm up, or should I say pre-season. There is still going to be fire when we face West Ham.
Fair enough. So Avijit bhai, like Ojas bhai said that some of the players have been rested with one eye on the Liverpool game. Another name who's not made the starting 11 is Marcus Rashford. Now, we all knew that Marcus Rashford did come out of the Barca game with a slight knock. And even in the Carabao Cup final, you could see that, he was not 100%. It felt like a striker who was playing with a fair amount of painkillers injected into him. Uh, do you think that it is a good thing that Marcus Rashford gets this rest, considering the fact that there is a big game on Sunday against Liverpool? Or would you have preferred Marcus Rashford to at least travel with the squad? I'm not sure whether he's in the squad or no, so I'll have to wait and see for that. But do you believe that if Marcus Rashford is in the squad and if he's in the substitutes bench, do you think that he should be bought upon on the chance that if the game is still 0-0 at around 65 minutes played, and the play is not as much as to the liking of the manager? So do you think it is right enough to risk Rashford at that point?
Yes, as you said that yes, we can bring him on the substitution. As you give that opinion, yes, we can use him because you see that he is playing tremendously, simultaneously all the games up till now. He and Bruno and DTC all are playing their all games. So there would be a niggle in his knee or in his ankle or even in his leg. So I would say it is better to give him a rest because there are so many important games coming up like Liverpool, Real Betis, or even the Brighton game. I would say if it is postponed, I don't know, but okay. But given the fact that we should give him rest, I was even in the opinion that we should have rested him because he's playing a lot of games and he's very dedicated toward the team. Um okay, he instead of him, I would just prefer Sancho, but there are news coming circulating that Sancho is not available. Is I think so. There Garnacho has the right place to tend in this game because we can stretch out the defense because they will have a low blocks. Wout Weghorst has real responsibility to score the goals because it is a perfect game to score the goals. Uh, I think Anthony is also started in the league lineup. Is it Anthony? Yes.
Anthony is
Okay,
starting,
then
yes.
yes. Okay, but we can start Anthony. We can also substitute him after 60 minutes because we can give also a chance to Facundo Palacio because he has showed some glimpse of what can he do in the I think in semi-finals. I think he had shown some game. So he could be an additional one player who can just give some minutes, and Tenak has said that he counts on him. So it would be a good addition. I am surprised that why did Casemiro not play in this game because you see, as he has served three bans and he has enough rest as compared to Fred or all the players. So Casemiro starting in this midfield who could be good addition with Sabitzer because both the players if we look in the future they can both the gel up. Fred is okay. We are using him very as in an intense games. Okay, but looking at tactical out what Ten Hag plays. we can use Sabitzer and Casemiro both. So it could be have been a good addition. But okay, I also it feels some little doubt about McTominay because he has not got that those minutes what we expected. But he is decent enough. Uh, he could be substituted after all if there is a tricky situation. Okay, and overall the squad is good, decent enough. We can tackle enough and we can win the game.
Yeah, pretty well said, Abhijit bhai. So what I think, as far as the Casemiro situation is concerned, is that you did say that he's come back of a suspension, but he's played two emotionally charged 90 minutes. Now, yes, comparatively, he might not be affected that much from a physical standpoint, but the game against Barcelona was an emotionally charged game. The game against Newcastle was a final, so automatically it becomes a much more emotionally charged game. Now, yes, he's used to such high profile games during his time at Real Madrid, but then again, I believe that after a certain point, the emotional high does get to you, and you do tend to be a little fatigued on the mental side of things. So, and also again, Liverpool game on Sunday, so it could be it just could be an opportunity to just get himself sorted out, to just get himself a little bit refreshed. That is what I feel as far as the Casemiro exclusion is concerned. But then again, your point does hold a lot of weight, that it could have been a good chance to try the Sabitzer and Casemiro midfield pairing. Unfortunately, we will have to wait on that. Hopefully, it happens in this game if Casemiro is involved, or maybe on Sunday perhaps. But then I don't think there is much we need to complain. I think it's a pretty strong lineup. So Kshitij bhai, speaking about our lineup only. Uh,
Delvin bhai, before you ask Kshitij bhai something, just tell me one thing. Is Paqueta the
no, he's still
center
he's still
attack?
not he's still not 100% fit. I'm
Okay.
not sure whether he'll play. I don't think so he'll play, but then again, we'll have to wait until the lineups come out. Uh, so Kshitij bhai, continuing to our lineup. So Garnacho, let's talk about Garnacho a bit. So Garnacho from the bench is an entirely different prospect. When he's bought out around the 70 or 71st minute, against a bunch of tired legs who've been through the rigors of dealing with Marcus Rashford throughout the course of that time, and then when you bring upon another player who's faster, if not as fast as Rashford, uh, to run at you, it automatically becomes a very unwanted prospect, especially at a time where he's comparatively fresh and young and fast, and you are there, you know, given the runaround by Rashford for 70 odd minutes, and then you have to face this guy. But then when he starts, it is a different prospect altogether. Uh, I'm not sure if you guys in the panel will agree with me, but I think the way Garnacho starts his games, whenever he's given a starting opportunity, is quite predictable, which more or less gives the defense ample of time to find him out. In the sense that they do get a fair measure of what Garnacho is going to attempt in the first 5 to 6 minutes, which automatically makes him a much easier proposition to handle while he's playing as a starting role. Now, obviously, that comes down to the fact that he's still young and he's still learning on the job and so on and so forth. But uh, in a knockout game where there are no do-overs, there are no second chances, I don't think there is a replay in the fifth round, but then I could be wrong as well. Uh, how important it is for Garnacho to be unpredictable and hold that aura of unpredictability around him when he's able to do that very consistently when he's coming on as a substitute.
See, Garnacho has that issue of just being young. That's it. He's very, very fresh. The aura of unpredictability is still there for him because people haven't seen him yet that much. But we are also forgetting that the only games which we can completely rely on youngsters is not blood to give youngsters a chance on the biggest stage. It's who we are. And he needs to deal with it. He needs to know that what a pressure games feels like. Maybe this is the stage because you cannot play him in a Europa League semi-final starting or until unless some injury crisis happens. I don't think you can give him chances in Carabao Cup, FA Cup, some small team league matches. Even though Premier League doesn't have any small team right now, it's just ridiculous. And Garnacho still, I think, when he gets the ball, like even when the one of the match he started, I'm forgetting which one, in which Maguire was constantly putting him the crossfield balls, and it's just slipping off my mind. He was making amazing runs, but the decision making comes with the experience, and that experience will come with him starting the matches. Because, so as Sir Alex said, we are over relying on Rashford too much, and players like Garnacho, Pelestri, these guys need these FA Cup matches, and these guys need some like big minutes to actually train their mind to actually know what a big game feels like. And don't get me wrong, even if it's West Ham FA Cup fifth round is a huge match because winning a domestic trophy is something else. We just saw that. And FA Cup is the yeah, Abhijit Bhai wants to say something.
Uh, just want to add that to get unpredictable for Garnacho, he needs to, we need to provide him the long balls and switch of play or transition play. When you put the direct ball, when you also you can put a through ball, he cannot be predicted because when you see that game against, I think he scored against where Wutogas put the through ball, he took the ball away. So even in that, I think Fulham game or I think he was where he put the ball directly, he ran over them.
Fulham type
Just like
injury winner. That was one of the games where the through ball came.
yes. So like that, when you he's not good at one on one or take ons on the defensive player. So instead of that, you can put a direct ball. If they have puts it, then he is unpredictable in that position.
I would just say, let Garnacho cook. Let him cook. If he
No,
doesn't work, we'll sub him. We have subs on the bench. I think the lineup is out. Rashford is on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
bench.
I'll just read out the entire lineup. So the lineup is the same. It's De Gea on goal, Lindelof and Maguire the centre back pairing. Malacia and Dalo are the fullbacks. Sabitzer and McTominay are the midfielders. It's Bruno, Garnacho, and Anthony, and Weghorst at the nine. The bench is pretty loaded. Casemiro, Van Bissaka, Varane, Fred, Martinez, Rashford, all of them are on the bench. So it's a pretty stacked bench. Uh, I remember the last time we played West Ham in the FA Cup was the game where we actually ended up winning, courtesy a Rashford goal. I believe it was the it was the season where we won the FA Cup under Van Hal. That was a very that I think we were it was I think it was the fourth round or the fifth. I think it was the fourth round because there was a replay. I remember, and we won it at Upton Park. So that we would that Rashford goal wouldn't hurt again. So Gaurav Bhai says that a lot of teams giving tough competition. So every team with lower standings will give tough fights, and if United they are favorites to win EPL. I won't say I won't go on to say that they're favorites to win the Premier League until now, but then let's see. It's something that we'll have to wait and see.
I
Eh, I
I
think
just
What will
want
be the
to
lineup
add something.
formation?
Someone's stream is leaking.
Is it mine?
No, it's not yours.
Is it mine?
Yeah, I think it's yours, Shitij.
Okay. What will be the formation for this game? Is it four
I
two three
think
one
yeah, it's the same.
or it's 4-4-3? 4-3-3. Sorry.
It's 4-2-3-1. Abhijit, bhai, it's your stream that's leaking.
I think winning the FA Cup also gives you a qualification route for Europa. It is like
Yeah.
Europa or conference.
No. Carabao is conference. FA is Europa.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
just
that is
wanted to add one thing before like we move on to the next question. That we have a pretty solid bench there, and in first 45 minutes, I just want to say we can afford to fuck up a bit. Not in the defense part, but in the attack, we can afford one or two mistakes because we have enough players on the bench who can come and rectify stuff, and we know how good ETH is in making those subs and right time to make those subs. That's what I wanted to say.
I'm trying to find the West Ham 11, but somehow I'm not able to get it. So if anyone can help me with the West
Like,
Ham 11, that would be great.
okay, I'll give you the West Ham 11. The keeper is Ariola.
Okay,
Then Emerson, Ogbonna, Guede, Johnson,
okay,
and then as Ojas Bhai said, yes, Paqueta is back. Rice, Suchek,
okay.
Benrama, Antonio, and Fornals.
So
And
Antonio plays the 9.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Scamacca, Kerr, Bowen. Bowen is also there on the bench.
that's pretty close to their full strength lineup, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
Paqueta, Rice, Sochek, then Rama, who had 2 assists in the game against Forest. So yeah, some pretty good players out there. Ojas bhai, what do you make of West Ham's lineup? Ojas bhai,
Yeah,
what do you?
I was just thinking about it also that you're playing Suchek, Paketa, and Rice in the midfield. It is pretty close to the first starting lineup itself. And what actually is a very good move by David Moyes, although I don't rate him that high, but it is a very good move. He carefully watched Antonio against us in the last time that we played them. Antonio was one of those players. I think he was pushing Lisandro or the second centre back that we were playing back then. He was creating a pressure. Those last 15 minutes were really a very tough phase for Manchester United in that game, and we won it very on the finest of the margins. So it's a very good move on the thing that he remembers how well Antonio played against us. These are not the same defenders. The defenders have changed, and Maguire, although a very slow player on the turn, I expect him to counter Antonio on the physical aspect of the game. So this way West Ham side has developed its center forward that he has to completely over through the defenders and let the wingers, or should I say Paqueta or Benrama. Benrama is a very decent player to just come into the game in a way that there are a lot of open spaces, as our defenders will be really concentrating on how Antonio moves, because he's a kind of player. I know he's on the wrong side of the 30, but he's a kind of player who's a strong also and has a knack of pace. On certain moments, he has knack of pace where he just rushes past the defenders. So overall, a very good lineup by West Ham to counter Manchester United, knowing that we will be having some tired legs and brains from Sunday. But again, Delvin, by these are the sort of the games that we are expected to win.
I'm actually really surprised that they are playing this strong of a squad when they are in a relegation battle. It's just very surprising.
I mean, I think
Just
at this point, they with Moyes' job on the line, I think I think he was left with no other option but to play his strongest 11. I think if he would have even been a little bit higher on the points table and there would have been a fair cushion between the team position and the relegation zone, I think he would have afforded to slack out. But then that is not the case, and especially with him, with that cloud of uncertainty, with that sack looming over him also. I think there he felt up to a certain point that yeah, I don't have any other option. I'll have to go ahead and play my strongest 11, which could very well be the case. They could still get a result, mind you. If I mean, for all this while we've supported the club, we do know that football is a game of glorious uncertainties, and you cannot count against West Ham to get a result in their favor, which could, if you go to see, turn out to be a blessing in disguise, which means that there'll be less fixture congestion. But then again, considering the
plus
run
it's a
that we've
fair option.
had, yeah. But considering the fact
It's
the
table
run,
for surprises.
yeah, the run that we've been in and the momentum that we've carried forward into this game, I think it would be like a damn squib if we do end up, God forbid it does not happen. But then again, Shitish bhai, speaking about another player, what about Malasia? So, Malasia is another player who's not got a lot of game time. He's got his fair share of appearances, but then I don't think he's played a lot of football in the recent times. Yes, he's had a few substitute appearances, but then he's not had a proper run, a prolonged run of fixtures like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, or so on. So the fact that he comes into this game slightly undercooked, how important it is for him to get up to speed, because with Shaw, it always used to be the case of Shaw grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck, no matter what the opposition was. Shaw always intends to show who's the top dog right from the off. Whether it is with his ball progression, whether it is with his initial passing, or whether it is with those raking balls that he's capable of putting forward. So, how important it is for Malaysia to start the game in the right foot, like not letting his under preparedness come to haunt him, and just do the basics right, even if you're not trying to do something extravagant.
You see, when it comes to the points of minutes, it was always going to be like that because we bought him to be Luke Shaw's understudy. So he was always going to get less minutes, that is true. And you said he didn't get that huge chunk of minutes which you need to be match ready. That's not there. But the main problem which happens when you are not match ready is when a really pacey winger is playing on your wing. Then you don't know how to tackle that particular position. But right now they're playing with Fornals. Fornals is more of a technical type player. He'll try to find that one ball. He'll try to find the cross. He'll try to find that little pocket of spaces in which Paqueta can come and perform. So in that sense, he can at least protect the wings. What I think, like at least he'll cover the left half of the wing, and then you will be fine. I think we'll be fine. But again, anyone on their day can run any player rugged. As we know, Dan Burn was playing amazing throughout the season, but Anthony ruined him when he was playing on that wing. So again, you never know. But what my point is, कि Malaysia is defensively astute enough to deal with corners. The attacking part is Luke Shaw is one of the best, in my opinion. You will may laugh at me. He's one of the best left back in Europe right now, performance wise. It's just amazing the change that player has from being one of the player who was on fringe. We bought
Kshitish bhai,
Malaysia to almost replace him.
if I'm not mistaken, Fornals is a player who plays on the left side of West Ham, right?
Yeah, I think Ben Rama will play
Right
against
side.
Benrama will play
Malaysia.
from the right. Benrama plays from the right.
In the lineup. In the
Okay.
lineup, I saw that Fornals is playing on the right wing and Ben Rama is playing on the left wing.
Oh, okay.
So
So
according to that, I'm
Maybe,
saying,
maybe.
both, but
according to
like you
that, I'm
said,
saying, but
like you said, even Benrama is a very technically sound winger. So both similar
But
profiles. So
Ben
yeah,
Rama, I think Ben Rama cannot do that much because Dallo will go forward and Ben Rama had to cover for him. So I think that Ben Rama will be effective, obviously, but he won't be running ragged because Dallo will go forward and he has to cover for his left back there.
yeah, totally. And Praveen Bhai says, what about Garnacho? Praveen Bhai, we already spoke about Garnacho a little earlier in the stream. And the general consensus with all of us in the panel was let Garnacho cook, let him do what he does best. And I think that is the best approach for him as of now. No point in overloading him with tactical instructions and so on and so forth. So that is the case with as far as Garnacho is concerned. Oh, just by the last time, I think uh, Lindelof and Maguire are a centre back pairing that have come under the microscope for a lot of time. Uh, Both of them have their own qualities. Both of them have qualities which are more or less similar with each other, and both of them have a similar set of flaws also, which is partly the reason why they've been under the microscope for so long. But if you compare the fortunes of both the centre backs ever since Ten Hag has come in, there has been a clear preference for Ten Hag as to who's going to be that third centre back, and that is Lindelof at this point in time. And you can see that Lindelof has gone ahead and done the job that he's been asked for. Uh, a lot of times we've been criticizing Lindelof for his lack of physical ability, and rightly so. In a league which is as physical as the Premier League, you cannot be easily manhandled by some strikers, especially Jordan Ayew out of all the strikers. But and then you see the game against Leicester. Uh, Lindelof was one of the strongest players physically. He was getting stuck into tackles. He was putting in those challenges, and he was out muscling some very physical strikers in the likes of Jamie Vardy, the likes of Ian Nacho, who started that game. So he was having a very good battle physically, as well as utilizing the rest of his skills also to good effect. So with that being said, now it's obviously going to be that Maguire is going to start on the left side of defense, and Lindelof will be the right sided centre back. uh, how important it is for this centre back pairing to have the better of Antonio, because all Antonio needs is one opportunity to get on top of the defense, be it any defense, and especially a defense of Maguire and Lindelof. There obviously be some question marks as United fans. So how important it is for Maguire and Lindelof to stay on top of their games. Let's be honest, Maguire was the reason we kept our clean sheet intact against them in the previous game at Old Trafford in the Premier League. A lot of people do tend to forget that, but Maguire was immense in those final 10-12 minutes where West Ham were all over us. But this time around, it's a knockout competition. How important it is for this defense to be on top of the game right from the off.
I think for both the players, it is going to be one of the most important matches of this season, because this is the game where you don't have the support of a good defensive right back, that is RN1 Bissaka for me, and you don't have your first choice left back, that is Luke Shaw. So automatically the transfer of pressure comes to Maguire and Lindelof, who have been leading a backline for past 2 3 seasons. The change that they have done this season is they have tried to commit less mistakes. As they know that in their age and the place where they belong right now, they cannot upgrade that much. They cannot shift into another level suddenly. So they have to do with what they have, and currently in this season, they have done it pretty well. They have committed less mistakes. They have tried to make the game more, error free, to be honest. But surely a player like Antonio will be just relishing this opportunity, because he will be facing a centre back lineup who has not played that much this season. And one of the reasons that I believe that Casemiro, Lisandro Martinez, and Varane. One of these players should have played the game today. Although I'm not saying that the lineup that we have decided is wrong, but just that you have suddenly changed the core of the defensive side of the team, and this can really affect us in the first 45 minutes. Also, one more thing that Maguire is what he's doing in the starting lineup is when the corners or set pieces happen, the Suchek and Rice that are uh, in our D, or should I say are there to win the headers, Maguire can be a very good option against them. And Lindelof is can be a very good, I should say, against players who are running through the ground, that is Antonio. But seriously, I'm not feeling the confidence that I should feel from the way we have played for past couple of weeks. But uh, I will try to get through it, and I hope I'm wrong at the end of the game. But surely our backline is looking very weak.
So, a couple of updates about the players who are not in the squad. So, Luke Shaw has a small injury. Ten Hag has gone on and specified that. He says that it's a small injury, but they'll have to wait and see whether he'll be fit for the Liverpool game on Sunday. Sancho is currently out with illness. So yeah, these are the two absentees that are there in our squad, Shaw and Sancho, due to injury and illness respectively. Uh, Kshitij bhai, speaking about West Ham, from looking at it from a West Ham perspective now, how important will this game be for them, considering that they have to still fight for survival? And as of now, I do feel that they are a team that are too good to go down, considering the quality that they have in their squad. They have some really really good players everywhere. If you see, they have one of England's better premier midfielders in Declan Rice. They have Aguerd, who just fresh out of a World Cup semi-final with Morocco. Then you have Ben Rama, you have Jared Bowen, then you have the likes of Suchek. And then you have the likes of Paqueta, who's been Brazil one of Brazil's key players as well. So for a side that is stacked with so much quality on all ends, how important does this FA Cup fixture is for them? Like, not only for them to qualify for the next round, but will the victory here give them that much needed jolt in the arm, to carry forward this confidence even in the Premier League?
See, if you ask me from West Ham perspective, if I was a West Ham fan, I would honestly not prefer that we put our efforts in FA Cup right now. Even though, as you said, the confidence is a much needed thing. But Premier League survival is a must for the stature of a club which West Ham is. Look at their stadium, look at their players, look at the infrastructure they are building for their young players is immaculate. And if they go down, it's going to be disastrous. And they are not that far off. They are just 2 points away from the relegation zone. And it's just as I said before, it's baffling to me that why are they playing this strong squad against United? Maybe they want to capitalize on the tiredness of our players and they just want to come and just smash and grab this win. But if I was a West Ham fan, I would like them to just be content. Even if they don't win, they can just completely focus on the Premier League. But if they do win, they will go out with the confidence that they have defeated Manchester United and they just can go and be a proper mid-table side at least this season. And then they have to also play in the Conference League. They are also playing in the Conference League. So I am surprised that they are just trying to fire all cylinders in every competition. Even we are doing that, but the quality of players is little different. But as you said, they have some amazing players in Declan Rice, Ben Rama, and Suchek. Suchek, I love Suchek. I just want, if they get relegated, just get Suchek as Casemiro's backup. Honestly, man, is really,
Why not
really good.
Declan Rice? Why not Declan Rice?
I think his Arsenal bomb. Is honestly Arsenal bomb.
No, we
Well,
have habit to take Arsenal players. We have a habit to take Arsenal
even
players.
Chelsea has. So I'm just saying, like, I hope they don't go down because they're a big club. You want a big club feel when you go to their stadium. It's nice, but I'm really flabbergasted that they went with this strong squad because maybe Moisey doing his thing, Moisey doing Moisey things. I just can't just it's just weird. See, because like he was our previous manager, he shat on our club like really badly. So that it's a different feeling whenever I see Moyes because he was the chosen one apparently, and now he is again screwing up with West Ham. It's very weird to see. But I hope they find some way to stay in Premier League, and I just hope that they lose today.
Yeah, so I think we've more or less covered everything there is to cover as far as the game is concerned. We've covered West Ham, we've covered United, we've covered their lineups, we've covered what to expect, what not to expect. So before we wrap up the stream, I'd like to get your predictions. So Kshitij bhai, I'll start with you. What do you think would be the final score of the game, and who do you think will score the opening goal of this game?
I think my prediction is 3-1 United. And the first goal will be scored by Anthony. I hope Weghorst because Weghorst need that goal, but I think it will be Anthony or Bruno. But Anthony, I'll go with Anthony as star goal.
Gaurav Pai thinks in the chat that it's going to be 1-0. So very narrow. Or just by your predictions for the game and your opening goal scorer.
Yes, I think it is going to be a 2-1, and I think it will be the Garnacho starting now.
Yes.
I think Garnacho will score the first goal.
All right. I believe it's going to be a clean sheet for us. I think Maguire and Lindelof will do enough to make sure that Anthony is stifled early on and not given much of a sniff. I think Maguire will do a good job. I think he's more often than not been solid, if not spectacular. Even though if it has he has been shaky in those games, but then he's recovered pretty well enough for his standards to put in a very competitive performance over the course of 90 minutes. And we are at this point in our season where we will have to start having a certain level of trust and confidence on all of our players, even though a vast majority of our fan base does think that Maguire is not capable of the trust. He is part of our squad. He is our official club captain. So I think it is about time that we put our backing and our trust behind the players who are going to play. uh, uh, Even though you do not like him, you'll have to put that aside. He wears the shirt, so he is our player, and we will have to make sure that we give him all our support. And I genuinely believe that he will have a very good game today, because I've spoken about this a lot, and I genuinely believe that Maguire is a tournament player, where in a tournament setting he somehow manages to get his A game forward, as you could see with England in the World Cup and even in the Euros. And I think the FA Cup would be a good way, for him to finally showcase the qualities that he has. So yeah, it's a 2-0 win for me, and I think Weghorst gets his goal. Weghorst opens the scoring. That's what I feel. So, with that being said, Osis bhai, Kshitij bhai, thank you so much for joining the stream. It was great discussing the game with you, the preview, and hopefully, we get about discussing the win tomorrow. And hopefully it's another win for us. We've been on the crest of a wave, and we would like to make the most of it. Thank you to everyone in the chat who were there. Try to make it more interactive, try to put in their 2 cents in the matter, and it is great having you. Uh, do go ahead and show us love. Our aim is to reach 2,000 followers by this month. So we are on the way there. We would love you to be part of our journey. We put out content on a daily basis, and we would love you to be a part of it. So do smash that like button, do click on that subscribe button, and do press the bell icon so that you're notified for every video that we come out with, and you are part of it. So yeah, do go ahead and show us love. Do follow us on our socials, on our Instagram and on our Twitter as well.
Delvin, read
We're
the
pretty
comments.
active there. Maguire is still better than Neuer. He went skiing and broke his leg. Kozak, very very hilarious take on the situation, but then different
Yeah,
positions all different.
he's a Bayern fan actually.
He's a
He's my friend. He's my friend. He's a Bayern fan.
Bayern fan. All right.
Yeah.
Surprising that there's a title race there.
Yes, being a
Didn't
Bayern fan is comparing Neuer and
Maguire,
Maguire.
very,
Very,
very, very, very
He's
strange.
just he's just frustrated that why every German tends to go on skiing and hurt themselves. Him, Schumacher, everyone. Why do they go skiing and just hurt themselves? Just
such a weird
Just a
way life plans out.
such a it's the
hey,
German.
it's no, it's our captain. Is their captain. It's a very cool
It's
treatment
the
he's giving
German.
there.
It's the German way.
It's a German way to get injured.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
like I said, guys, we are active on Instagram and Twitter, so do give us a follow there. I say this on every stream, and tonight is no different. That every day is match day on our official WhatsApp group, and we'd love to have you there. We are an ever-growing family, and there's always room for more. So do join us there, and we'd love to have you on board. With that being said, this is Delvin along with Kshitij Bhai and Ojis Bhai wishing you all a good night. Do take care of yourself. Do enjoy the game, and up until next time, do take care of yourself. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you on the other side. Goodbye.